Straight Talk. Welcome to Straight Talk. Welcome to Straight Talk. Welcome to Straight Talk. African President of the United States of America, President Barack Obama.
Good to see you. I just want to say everybody back home, right back at you. We appreciate you. You always give us straight talk.
And welcome to Straight Talk. Well, you get a lot of straight talk today from some ministers, some pastors of very recognized churches in the city of Chicago. And I must put my microphone on so you can hear me. Now I'll start over. I have some very important pastors here today with me to talk about what is happening to our society and what we can do to turn it around. I know one thing we can do, but I'm going to let them tell you what it is. Sitting to my far left is my good friend for many years, Rich Redmond. How you doing, Rich?
I'm fine, WL. How are you doing?
Great.
You look great, man.
And getting better.
Yes, sir. You look great.
Next is pastor from the west side of Chicago. The west side, right?
That's right.
William Jones. Good to meet you.
Not
Good
a
to have
problem.
you on the show. Talk
Again.
about all the problems that we, again.
Yeah.
Again, right.
Last time I was on the show, Danny and I was doing the show
Right,
with you.
together.
Yeah.
So he monopolized it. That's why I said.
But it's all good.
Now it's your time.
You know, we yield to the congressman. All right.
He's
We
a good
yield to
guy.
him.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's one of the few politicians in the city or in this country who realize what their job is.
Right.
He worked for the public. You don't work for the public doesn't work for you.
Absolutely.
They're paying you all this money, and you're saying, "Well, I represent. I'm your leader." No, you don't pay no leader to lead you. The leader pay you to follow him.
Exactly.
I feel a little passion coming from you there, WL.
Huh?
I feel some passion coming from you over there.
Okay, well, tell me about it.
Well, I mean, I kind of echo those sentiments you just shared.
Okay.
I mean, prior to the show, we were talking about, some things that transpired in Springfield, and I kind of echo your sentiments in relationship to lack of effective black leadership.
Right, right.
And one's responsibilities and roles as a leader.
Right.
They're supposed to be public servants, not we servants to them.
Right. It's even on the side of a police car. It said to serve and protect,
To protect,
Absolutely.
yes.
not
Absolutely.
harass and humiliate and kill.
Absolutely.
That's what they do. They humiliate the community. They kill the community. They do all kind of egregious things in our community,
Right.
Exactly.
and we're not doing anything about it.
Well, some folks are not doing it.
Well, we got to get together before
Get together.
we can do anything about it. It's
Yeah.
got to be a camaraderie because they got a police force. They got an army.
Yeah.
So we need an army.
So WL, how about if, with the spirit that you were talking about today, why don't we kind of use your platform today, and thank you for the opportunity for being here. I echo what Pastor Redmond is saying. If we kind of focus on trying to pool our resources and pool our people and educate our people to understand the disenfranchisement and the equality or lack of equality and equity that we're experiencing in our neighborhood, and don't keep on believing that this is the way it should be. This is not the way it should be. We have been bamboozled, in all honesty. I mean, and folks are afraid to stand up and be recognized for standing on the truth.
And that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Nobody wants to stand up and represent properly.
And I like that word, the truth. We have so many deceptions going on in the television news media, which is always my concern because that's exactly what I deal with. And as we are looking at the different facets that we have to deal with in the community, which are many. I mean, we're dealing with crime, we're dealing with economics, we're dealing with joblessness, homelessness. We're dealing with mental. And I kind of like the fact that WL was telling us about the pastor who went to see Mike Madigan to talk about designing a bill that's going to help the mentally ill. I mean, ever since Rahm Emanuel took that down, we have seen more illness of that type in our community. I'm hoping that our current mayor consider that seriously, because without help on the mental level, I don't see crime reducing at any great number.
You can't, because the person who's committing the crime and committing these murders doesn't have a conscience.
Yes,
They don't have a conscience at all.
yes.
But WL, you referenced earlier, and not only were our communities on the south and west side disenfranchised of mental health facilities, effective mental health behavioral health facilities that deal with us, us, all right. But we also lost 100 schools in that plan, where 100 schools in our communities were shut down, where our children had to be bused to different places. And you talked specifically about violence, Redmond, and about it being a mental health issue. You are absolutely right. It is a public health issue, because folks are going through what they're going through. Young folks are not out there running wild because they ain't got nothing to do. They talking. They speaking their language. We just don't understand the language, nor do we want to understand the language, right? But they speaking, and they telling you that they done had enough of certain things that going on, so they creating their own movement, they creating their own language, and they dealing with their business the way they feel they need to deal with their business. So they kind of violently deal with each other.
Killing each other.
That's right. Because they don't know how to articulate. They're not mentally capable to articulate and understand that you got some other issues going on when you don't love yourself. When you're killing one of your own, you're killing yourself. But if you don't understand that, then that's an issue going on. So who consciously would kill themselves?
Well, I don't think we're going far enough with them to tell them that you leave here when you get ready. Don't matter how many times you get shot. You know, we had the policeman to get shot 16 times. And they thought he was dead. And he's walking around now.
Yes. Ain't that something?
Yeah. You know, Reverend, I can't think of his name now, his son-in-law.
The son-in-law
Of a pastor.
oh, well, whoever you're thinking about, I hope he's not that person shot 16 times.
No, the person that got shot was a former policeman, former Chicago policeman. He was still a policeman.
Yes.
He left the Chicago police force and went to railroad. He made more money on the railroad. So he was a railroad policeman. He was coming down. He drove home and decided to go up the one-way street to get to his park, to his garage. They stopped him. He identified himself. He took it to the other side. And he was telling me, you know, are you armed? He said, sure. He showed me the gun, and he started shooting. Shit. 6 of them just pump bullets in him.
6.
6 policemen.
Yeah.
And one of them shot. They shot each other, and one of them got shot in the arm. And they accused him. Now he caused one of our police officers to get shot in the arm. But he was able. They locked him up and they charged him with all those charges. After, you know, when he was released from the hospital, they took him to jail. But then the judge had let him out. But the judge threw that stuff out.
You know, that's a good point, sir. We just got the news out of New York that the officer who choked to death an African-American man in 2014, Eric Gardner. And in that, it's 5 years later, he's finally fired. I mean, it could have went one way or the other.
And that's all, just fired.
Yeah. 5 years in the time it takes. We're finding that not only in New York, we're finding it particularly here in Chicago. I mean, the same with the killing of Van Dyke, of McDonald. These are type of things that are happening from the police to our community. And you brought this up earlier too, WL. They're coming to our community to intimidate, threaten, and to seemingly take us out.
Well,
as opposed to protecting and
Right.
serving.
And serving.
I wrote that in this upcoming week, we released the media editing group is a watch group that monitors all Chicago TV news stations. We have been doing it for well over a decade. We record the news every day of the week, 7 days a week, and we record all 5 television news stations, 2, 5, 7, 9, and 32. We keep a record of it, we document it, and then we critique it. And when I say we, I mean people who have worked in the television news industry, such as myself. I worked at WLS Television News in the 80s. Before Harold came, Harold Washington, the late
Right.
Harold Washington, came and grabbed me and says, Rich, I need you with me. I got together with a couple of friends from back in the day. They're retired now. But we all have this same sentiment about changing the way the African American community is covered.
Right.
So as of January 2018, we launched a website. I hope they put that up on the screen. That website gives a weekly report of which stations are giving us negative and positive news reports. We lay out the number of reports each one does daily, and then we accommodate it in the week numbers, on the website. And we also pick which news station actually reported the most singular, most negative, and singular, most positive news story that impacts the African American community. What I'm speaking of that we had done in regards to the conversation we had earlier about police coming into our communities deals with this week's most positive TV news report. We have singled out that African American policemen, when they come into our community, seems to work to find a way to reduce the violence, create programs, and help deal with youth in a way to give them an alternative way of thinking. But every report we have documented about white and those who are other than African American policemen have been dealing with violence, police shootings, police beatings, wrongful arrests, wrongful convictions. We rarely see positive news about anybody other than African American cops in a positive light.
Right.
That's coming out on this week's website.
But I think that's by design.
Yeah.
Why would I want to empower you?
Right,
You know?
right.
Why would I want to give you strength through the media? I mean, when you know better, you do better, right? But that's not what the media is for. The media is not to empower and not to encourage and not to enlighten. They don't want us to understand that we are descendants of kings and queens.
But that's what
and
they should be.
Yeah, of course they should be.
Yeah.
But what we're not actually doing, we're not campaigning or protesting these stations literally for their inadequate programming or this depiction of who we are.
But Pastor Walter, this is the thing about empowering us. We don't know how to deal with it.
Who don't know how?
Not the general public. You know what? We own the public airwaves. We own them.
Right.
We own the public airwaves.
Just
This
like-
is the thing that
just
you
like we
need-
own the politicians.
as we own the politicians. Now with the public airwaves, the reason we don't know the answer and solutions, because I always write my programs to provide a solution, not just to identify the problem.
Right.
So what's the
Once
problem?
we're
What's
taught,
the solution?
well, we're already got it.
No, what is
We're
it?
about to meet with all the executives of the TV news stations this coming fall, November. All 5 stations, TV news executives. We don't meet with reporters. We don't meet with producers. We meet with the senior staff.
Okay.
I did this back when I was working with Harold Washington. I met with all the GMs in the 90s after Harold's administration and Eugene's administration. and daily after I worked for him too. But at the same time, I did this and met with all the GMs. The answer is you got to know exactly what it is that you own.
That you what?
Own.
Okay.
You
And
own
if
the
you don't-
product.
if you don't know-
if you don't know how to use it
Right.
as a solution.
Okay.
So we're about to make that step. But it doesn't take all of us to go down there and march in front of the TV stations like we did in '80 when they fired Harry Porterfield.
Right, right.
You know, I was a part of that with Operation Push and a couple of other organizations. In fact, I was one of the people who sat down and helped write the strategy. But that's not the route we're taking now. We're so much more advanced with social media and technology. We can go and meet in the boardroom now and get what we want. And we're about to do that in the fall. So it's not for everyone, pastor, to be a part of that meeting. Your pastor is going to be a part of it, as he has been working with this effort for over
But
10 years.
But my pastor is also a social justice advocate.
Oh, definitely.
And now
I love him for it.
we also are actively involved in dealing with the RCNs and all of these big conglomerates on how they broadcast it. I mean, we literally go out there and deal with them too. But we go and shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
We go bring attention to the facility to let them know that either we in it or we not in it, and nothing about us without us. So you ain't gonna use us to increase your broadcast, your airways or your broadcasting or your network ability.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna be actively involved in talking about the positive things that's going on in our neighborhood. And if we are not, then we take it to the next level. I agree that there's different levels for dealing with everything. And everybody should get in where they fit in. Do what you need to do to make a difference. But at the same time, we talking about our babies dying, all right? We talking about the enfranchisement in our communities. We talking about lack of equity in our community. We talking about lack of equality in our community. We talking about lack of effective leadership in our community. The airwaves, the newscasts, and all that good, it's good. That's one of the plights we should fight. But the reality is that our people are going through genocide, all right? Our people are dying. Young folks are dying. We're living worse than they're living in war zones in Beirut and Afghanistan. We living in environments where folks are becoming so desensitized to what's happening to our children that they just go with the mindset, well, I wonder what he did.
What is the solution, Pastor?
Well, the solution is don't give up. The solution is keep the fight going. The solution is when you see injustice, speak truth against injustice. The solution is don't talk about it, be about it. The solution is whatever you have to create. Whatever you have to empower. But one thing you don't go against yourself. Don't go against your people. Stand with the people. Don't sell out on your people. Do what's right for your community. Do what's right for your children. Leave a legacy. Leave something that your children can stand on and be proud of. And stand for justice. Stand for righteousness. And go out there and fight. And if you have to give up your life for the fight, then your life is worthwhile of giving up.
And remember, Tony Prewinkle and Kim Fox are our people.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
You know, what person in their right mind will pay somebody $3,000 to mess their face or beat them up in the face? You see that boy's face?
One that's
all
mentally
swollen?
ill.
Yeah. Yeah. He got to be.
Who did that?
He talking about this little guy off of
Smell it.
yeah, off what's the name of that movie? Empire.
Empire.
So this dude goes out there and
okay.
get these
Smollett.
Yeah, Smollett. He goes up there and
Smollett,
get
yeah.
Smollett. He goes up there and get these guys on the north side.
I
to rough
know
them
the
up
story.
with the whole-
man.
yeah, so-
I know
What I'm saying, the man is not. He's not mentally ill.
something wrong with him.
No, he got beat up.
And what
He got
I
beat
believe
up.
You're saying it actually happened.
Yes,
Now wait a minute. Let's go back to the news report.
I don't believe.
Let's
that
find
little
out
boy-
why news is so important there.
Okay,
news is
I
important
listen.
because of the
I'm
way they
listening.
report it.
No, but let me
News-
tell you something about
Go
the
ahead,
news.
I'm
Let me
listening.
tell you something about the news. I heard one thing. You know, now first off, when the police detectives saw the camera, got their descriptions, found out who they were, went to their house, they found in his apartment a check from Smollett and other material. They found the rope and they found the
Bleach.
everything.
Yeah.
Now, not the roach, that's right, because he still had the rope on.
He
when
was
they-
wearing the
yeah.
rope essence.
Right.
Yeah.
But they found the bleach. Then they asked him, said, well, what's this check for? He said, well, we do. We teach him. We teach Mr.
Some kind of
Smollett
physical stuff.
physical
wasn't it?
stuff. He
Yeah,
told
they
him
were
all about the
physical
physical
trainers.
stuff.
Yeah,
Right,
They
trainers.
were trainers.
Then they, when they said, "Well, look like we got to lock you up. The only way we can help you is if he forced you to do it. I mean, if he paid you to do it, beat him up, and he paid you to do this for some other reason." Oh, well, he did. Yeah, he paid. We paid. He paid us for this.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly how it happened.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Now then, we can help you. They set that boy up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, then when the news media, the news media talked to the state's attorney as for why he released this guy and what happened. Tell me what happened. He said, "Well, we had a conversation and we were talking, and I asked him, during the conversation, well, what was that $3,000 check for?" And he told him the same thing: training. Do the training thing. And then he said, I was flabbergasted. And I cut in and said, "I thought the check was for him beat. Oh, that's right. That check was to beat him up. We beat him up. They paid it to beat. They said, "Oh, okay."
Mm-hmm.
Then the news media said, "Well, do you
Yeah.
think he's innocent?" "No, I don't think he's innocent."
Mm-hmm. That's because they're shaping the story. See, I understand what's going on. I'm living in it. I know what's in our community. Yeah, we're changing the narrative.
Yes.
Listen,
that's it.
there is only one most powerful industry in the world. That's TV news.
Right?
That's the
Hey, but
most
you gotta pay
powerful
attention.
instrument in the world.
You gotta pay
it can
attention
make
to it.
you seem like your people are going through a genocide if you're not actually there.
Right.
It can make you seem like you're living in a war zone if you're not actually there.
Yeah.
It can shape your entire image with a news report and make people who see you other than black, and even some blacks, get away from you because of the image they project of you. They can do that over and over
Positive
and
or
over and over. Negative reinforcement.
Yeah.
The most important thing about our fight is not to look at every issue separate, because every issue is of expediency. Everything, as Paul would say, that is not of expediency. We've been fighting these fights for a long time, guys. We've been fighting gangs, we've been fighting genocides, we've been fighting kids. I mean, this generation of kids up now is nothing like we were. We are in a fight because of an image. And that image is not carrying only in our community, it's covering the world.
Right.
I am seeing more professional black men, African American men, who are still being treated as if they're criminals, because this is the image. Now, unless we deal with changing that image, we're going to have a hard time getting our own on board. I've been out in the community fighting for a long time, and I'm telling
right,
you, we got only a few real stalwart warriors.
But you're
A
right.
few always is the answer. And I'm going to tell you who that few is. It must be the church.
Well,
Because the world cannot save itself. You got to have morals to fight these fights, because we're not fighting against flesh and blood. We are fighting against principalities. People who have an idea like President Trump, that this has to be against this person and this race has to be kept here. He has some good points in some things he's saying, because truthfully, you can't break the law of a nation.
But see, he can't keep up with the good points.
He can't keep up with it. You're
No,
right.
no,
He cannot.
No, he can't keep up with the good points because he's got to continue to convince. Well, we talk about that
His
off
buddies.
there. We got to talk about that off there.
Well, but no one is decreasing his news time. All right? His news time is not being decreased, nor is there effective.
No one but 32 Fox News.
Well, and nor is there effective rebuttal to all of the. Come on, now we must be stuck on something stupid if we don't see
I agree with you.
what's going on here, and you can call it what you like, but this is pure racism at its finest.
Exactly.
All right. It's
Exactly.
bigotry at its finest, and we sit back and act like, oh, it don't bother me. Oh, yes, it do bother you. You know,
But then-
it bothers you.
But when someone tells him, ask him, listen, this lady, this black lady spent all this time in jail for some narcotics that was found in the car, and he bonds out, what do we give him for that? And this kid, this young black kid who was a rapper overseas.
In Swedish.
In Sweden.
In Sweden, yeah.
Yeah. And he
Swedish
went over
school.
and tried to get him to get, hey, let that kid go. He's an American. He's an American citizen, and we don't believe he did anything like that.
But what about the relationships with China? What about the relationship with North Korea?
Well,
what about the relationship with Russia? What about the relationship all over the Middle East?
Well,
where
that's-
it's strictly
that's-
about money and not about
Let me
power?
tell you something. He's not
About
doing
people.
anything that he's not told to do.
Oh, okay. I agree. I accept that. I accept
like
that.
That's true.
I accept that.
So
Because that's why
So
they-
we got to go back to we got to go to the head
I like that.
in order
Yes.
in order to straighten that out. We got to go to
Yes.
the head. And how many of us believe there's another head?
Oh,
I do.
It's not. It's not.
I certainly
but
do.
it's not enough of us to make a difference.
I think though few of us though, WT, if each one teach one, if we love each other, if we so really
That's why
support each other,
that's exactly what we're doing in this church over here.
yeah, if we love each other,
Gotta-
then we want the best for each other.
Right.
If we really allow folks to be folk, and wherever you come short, let me empower you, all right? As opposed to ostracizing you. Okay, you may not know everything I may know, and I may not know everything you know, but we know a lot of things together.
Together.
All right?
Yeah.
So
Together
how about
it
we
becomes
work
double.
together and quit tearing each other down?
That's right. That's right.
Then we can rebuild this community.
You know, some years ago, what made me start the Straight Talk Economic Roundtable Ranch was one of my employees went to the Labor Department with some junk about the company. So they called me in to talk to me about it. We sit there and become colleagues. You know, we started a good conversation. And they said, well, tell me, WL, why are your people unemployed? I said, because they're not being hired. He said, that's not the reason. I said, what do you mean it's not the reason? I said, they're not being hired by, it's discrimination. I said, I've hired as many as I can so far. At that time, I had about 1,000. No, not that many then. I had about maybe 300 or 400 at that time. But at one point, we had 1,000 before the big letdown in economics. But anyway, he said, the reason your people, he said, let me explain something to you. See, he showed me evidence of the numbers of dollars that we are making and spending per year. $50 billion in Chicago, black people making and spending.
Absolutely.
He said every $1 billion creates 50,000 full employment jobs.
50,000.
50,000 full employment, not the
Full.
minimum wages.
Yes.
Full employment jobs. So therefore, he said, why are your people unemployed? I said, because they're not spending it where somebody would hire them. You know, I came right away. I started the Straight Talk Economic Roundtable to pull all the black businesses together and teach them how to go out into the community and ingratiate yourself to the public so that they will shop and trade with you and spend that money with you. If they spend that $50 billion with you, or spend just half of it. If they spend 25
Billion.
Yeah, 25 billion. I said, you would create 1,250,000 full employment jobs in the community. I said, so therefore we got to force them, because I said, most of the black business people at that time had no clue of what business was all about. I'm a big shot, I own a business. You know, they're too big to talk to the public. They're too big to mingle with the public. They don't know that the church, the pastors, and the business people are the leaders of the community, not the politicians.
not the politicians. You're so right.
Now, but that business person has to, win their confidence and bring them into their fold. And, like I went to when I was in the sheriff's department, I went to this guy looking for this guy who had allegedly broke his leg, chasing a guy who had snatched a pocketbook on Manheim Road. And when I went to this apartment building, there was 18 apartments there. All numbers on the bells and all numbers on the boxes, mailboxes, no names. I said, what kind of property is this? I said, how am I going to find the guy? So a store right next door adjoining that, I saw this guy in there wiping down shelves and wiping off cans. And I went in, the store was still empty, he was still wiping. I identified myself, showed him a picture. I said, this fellow lived next door. I said, I thought you may know him and tell me what apartment he lives in. I don't know about these little old folks around here. I'm a businessman. I said, no wonder the store's empty.
It's empty. That's his.
And he's wiping off shelves, trying to keep it clean. So I said, then a preacher, when I told that story in the meeting, one of the preachers got up. We had preachers mixed with the business people because, like I said, we're the leaders of the community, so we got to act like that. So one of the preachers got up and said, "You're so right, W.L." He said, I was having a picnic for my kids in the park, and I went to this store, this black store, and told the gentleman that, what I was doing, and I would like to get his support. He looked around to see if anybody was in the store, and he ran his hand in his pocket, pulled out 5 $100 bills, and slapped it in my hand and said, "I like you, but don't tell nobody I gave you that. Now, don't tell nobody I gave you that. You just, they be coming in here begging." So, I've been to your church before, and I like what you say. So here, take this. Good luck. The guy said, "Thank you very much." And he walked out. He said, I walked out, went down the street, about 3 blocks down, there was an Arab store. I went in there and told him the same thing. He said, "Oh, that's so nice of you to have that for the children." He said, "We got to support you with that. Give them a packet of hot dogs and some buns. You want buns to go? You need something to drink?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Give them what kind of dressing? You want mustard for that?" "Yeah, give them mustard and give them something to drink. Give them a couple of cases of pop and the buns and the hot dogs." He said, "Thank you very much." And he was taking it out to his car. He was rolling it out to his car. And he said, wait, hold it. You forgot something." He said, "What?" "Take my sign. Hang my sign up in the park. Let the people know that I'm for them. I support that."
Okay.
And he said, why didn't that black man think to do something so simple?
Simple.
Let the people know that you care about them and that you're supporting their efforts. And I said, "Yeah." I said, I said, you got a good point, because I put my camera in front of an area where there was a store down the street that was some other culture, and a black store here. Well, the black store was on that side and the white store was on this side. So he said, I stood there with my camera. I wanted to see exactly what happened. I saw black people coming and walking into the other store all day long, all day. They came out with little packages, so I didn't say anything to them.
Because of that one thought,
Right.
that one difference between the two of them, putting a sign
Right.
for advertisement.
Right. So, but anyway, now this is. Finally, a black guy walked into that store and come out with 2 big shopping bags. I said, "Now this is the guy I want to interview." I called him over. I said, "Sir, oh hey WL, oh I'm on TV." Because I had the camera there. I said, "Yeah, you're on TV. Come on up, talk to me." I said, "What you got there?" He said, "This is my food for the week." I said, "Why'd you pass that other store up and come down here?" He said, "Oh, he ain't about nothing, man. That guy ain't about nothing." I said, "What do you mean he's not about nothing?" "He doesn't even live in the community, man. He doesn't even live in the community. He don't care anything about this community." I said, that guy that you just shot from doesn't live in the community. He doesn't care anything about the community. I don't care about him. I don't care what he does. You know, I don't want my own people doing it to me.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
So you know, that's why my thing was let's go out into the community, let them people know that you care about them, that
Yeah.
you want to, if they have a problem, come to you because you're one of the leaders in the community.
Yes.
WL, we are actually on the west side of Chicago every week, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We go out to deleterious impact sites where violence is extremely prevalent, particularly in the West Garfield and Austin community. And we put up different events to encourage folks to come out and join together, to take back your space, to
Right.
reclaim your pride in your community, to work together to empower each other. This is your neighborhood. These are your children. Step up, stand up. When men stand up, little boys sit down.
Little
most
boys
of
sit down.
most of the guys out there, they really don't know what they doing. They just doing it
Right.
because ain't nobody challenging them. So we're out there challenging the men. We ain't against our babies. We love our young men. We just know that they're doing some things that ain't kosher. But we ain't afraid to sit down and talk with them. So we have to have that spirit of communicating with our own, empowering our own, because they are somebody's children, and there's somebody's children in our community. So we have to love them.
Right? Absolutely.
I like that. That's the leader
That's the leadership.
network you're speaking of.
This is Fathers Who Care. This is
Fathers Who Care.
That's the organization and our coalition members on the west side. But we have Hatch and we have Side Fields and we have ACRI and a lot of the others who are actively involved in our endeavors to do what we need to do to bring consciousness back to the neighborhood, to go back to those spots where folks say that they won't go, and let those folks know these are our communities, these are our parks, these are our streets. Folks are not owning nothing. They don't own this property. Mm-hmm. They just have the property because we've given it to them.
Right. Mm-hmm. We let them use it.
We let them use it.
Yes, yes. Well, I like that. The father's approach is ever so important. Our image of the father has been distorted in so many ways.
By design.
By design, and that's the saddest thing. So our whole aim is to basically take what we know, what we have used, what has been successful. We have so many problems in the community, as we cited at the top of the hour,
Yes, sir.
that this one thing keeps coming to mind. If we're going to all come together while we got 10 problems, let's not splinter ourselves. Let's try
Stay
to
together.
connect and do the one thing and rid ourselves of it, then move to the next. But if we do it collectively, I find so many. I work with over 200 churches across Cook County. 200. I've been in touch with throughout the last 3 years, constantly. And that's why I knew this pastor, because he's one of the 200 through his pastor I met. Now I know 2 of them at his church, and he know other churches. So I'll get with him and get that information and work with them. But we got one thing in mind, one thing only. We know of all the problems out here, but our aim is to go after the beast. And that beast is television, news, media. They are so quick to put a story out and there's no rebuttal, no recourse. If they did try to give you a little break and give you a rebuttal, they would never show the video of the news piece that was incorrect.
Right.
You'll never get a replay. They can destroy you and they can build you up with one report. Now, unless we change that, and that happened with Harold Washington when I worked with him. I worked with his press staff before he was elected and after he was elected. Most people know me because whenever Harold was out, I was out with him. I was his publicist. So the image they had of Harold was quite well below any mayor they had before. And it was my job to talk with a couple of the journalists about making some changes. And a number of them were African American.
Let's take a little break.
Please.
Yes, sir.
Over time with our break.
Okay.
The engineer just came out and told us, break time, you're late. We'll be right back after these messages. World. Come to Golden's Tropical World for tropical fish of all sizes, colors, and types, and other small animals like iguanas and birds from all over the world. There are beautiful tanks, pet supply needs, including dog and cat foods, and expert consultation. Check out Golden's Tropical World, 8611 South Ashland Avenue, Chicago, Illinois. Call ahead, 773-239-8809. Your pet shop.
What's it like working with your family? Good question.
Right, great question. Original Soul Vegetarian was established over 38 years ago from our parents, so we're second generation owners.
Back then in the 80s, nobody knew what vegan looked like.
But if you say, oh, this is barbecue, they'll eat it and say, oh, it's good.
Original Soul Vegetarian has been an anchor in this community. At least 90% of our clientele aren't vegans.
It has helped the community a lot with being aware of healthy eating and healthier options.
Most of everything that we sell is sourced locally, and it's all made in-house because it's just not about food for us. Your health is your wealth. Just add something healthy to what you're eating. You're gonna feel better.
No, I'm scared.
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Hart, what's going on?
I'm leaving.
Why? What did I do?
Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit.
Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave.
Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Why? Why? Why are you following me?
Why my hoodie make me look suspicious?
Why does my music make me dangerous?
Why are people that are supposed to protect me attacking me?
Why are you afraid of me? Why do you think I'm dangerous?
Why do I afraid of people who are supposed to protect me?
Why can't I make a peace sign without you labeling the gang sign?
Why does standing your ground only work when I'm on the ground?
Why do you show this photo over this one?
Why do you only stop and frisk me?
Why do you have low expectations for me?
Why can't I run down the street without causing alarms?
Why do you think I'm a thug?
Why do you assume I'm armed?
Why can I breathe?
Why is my mom scared every time I leave the house?
Why are you targeting me?
Why am I a target?
Why?
Why? Why? I know why.
And it has to stop.
It must stop.
Because I have dreams.
Because I can change the world.
Because I will make a difference.
Because I have a family.
Because I am strong.
Because I'm talented.
I have a voice.
I can find a cure.
I have goals.
I can lead the country.
I am determined.
I have a future.
Because I'm a scholar.
I am powerful.
I'm someone's friend. I'm someone's brother.
I'm someone's son.
Someone loves me.
And because my life matters too.
My life matters.
My life matters.
My life matters.
My life matters. My life matters.
Our lives matter.
And so did theirs.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Okay, we're back, gentlemen, and I think the audience is getting a good lecture today. It's just a lecture, not just a conversation, a lecture.
Men bonding.
Right. we need to get people to understand their power, their concern for their community, concern for each other.
Yes.
You know, it's a lot to be desired. We got people. I can't say who's doing it, but riding up and shooting people down in their cars and getting away with it. You know, killed a woman with her kid in the car.
Yeah.
The car ended up hitting a fence or something. So
Are you talking about recently?
Yeah, the other day.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the news the other day.
Yeah.
The kid was in the car. The kid wasn't hurt because the car, she was able to hold it and still alive long enough to drive it into a fence. The fence just bounced it, you know, wasn't a wire fence.
She was on her way from her birthday celebration. Is that
right?
The one?
Yeah.
Traveling down Washington, through Washington Park, over on 61st Street. I think she ran into a fence. They said later in one report, that's all they reported. But after media editing group followed the other reports, we learned that there was a man in the car with her in the passenger seat.
Uh-huh.
Police don't know if he was the target, but that's where they're leaning towards.
But they said she wasn't the target.
She was not the target.
Right.
How would they know that?
Well, that's what they say.
That's what they say.
Now they're
it may
speculating
not have been a target. Period. Just one of them shooting at.
They were shooting.
Yeah.
And they don't even know if he, the man in the passenger seat, was the target.
So that goes with what you were saying, though, Pastor Redmond. You know, the media shapes your thinking. Mm-hmm. And if you're not actively involved out there on the front line, on the ground, then people can change your way of thinking, mold your perception, and you just run in amok. You don't know what you're thinking, you don't know what you're doing, because you don't know the truth. Mm-hmm. And so, WL, you've been talking about that. You've been talking about that. And I think the truth is the light. However it turns, whichever way it turns, wherever it go, let it go. Yeah. But speak the truth so the people can know.
You hear people in the media saying, we got to vote Trump out this time. We got to get Trump out of there. Mm-hmm. Who are they talking to? Who are they talking to?
They're talking to us. We know to get them out. They got to be talking to somebody else.
No, first off,
they said he wouldn't get in.
First off, those people know that Trump is going to do his job. He's going to serve his time. He was not elected by us, and he's not going to be fired by us.
That's correct, sir.
Now they know that, but they sit up and talk.
And he got the complexion for the connection to keep the protection.
What did Barack Obama have? What did Barack Obama have to keep his for 8 years?
Yeah. He had the connections too.
The job that he had to do.
Yeah.
For the job that they hired him to do.
Absolutely.
You see, and we walk around like chicken with the damn neck cut off. We don't know what's going on. Yeah, we got to vote Trump out. Trump ain't doing what he's supposed to do. He's doing the job for the people that hired him to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay? And when at the end, you're going to find that you benefited from what he did, what he's doing.
You know, WL, I said that the other day, and people looked at me like I was crazy.
Well, maybe you might need to educate them.
But
yeah.
You can't educate.
Yeah, they did.
You can't educate people who
can't
are
see.
grown already,
yeah.
And that ignorance is there. I've had people to tell me that, oh, God is in heaven up there. I said, God is inside of everybody. Haven't you read the scriptures?
Correct.
Know ye not that you are God, and God's Spirit should dwell within you?
Within you.
No, I ain't never read that. Well, just don't go around saying things that you don't know what you're talking about.
He is his own entity, but he's big enough to put a little bit of him in all of us.
Right.
And thank God it's a little bit, because we'll be too powerful for ourselves. We've been hurt ourselves.
No, first off, we gotta realize that
it's there.
Yeah. And realize that, the life belongs to you.
Yeah, that you're a descendant of something greater.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it belongs to you. Life belongs to you. The person can shoot you 1,000 times. Mm-hmm. If you're not ready to go, you stand there and look at him like he's crazy. Mm-hmm. Hesse, you know Hesse Stewart.
Yes, sir.
Hesse shot a guy once, and at that time they didn't have enough sheriffs to guard people at the hospital. So if you shoot somebody, you got to guard them yourself. So Hesse was up there guarding this prisoner, and I went by to see him, and I heard a big commotion in the hall, and I ran to the door and looked out. This guy was in the bed. He was cussing the nurse out, and she was trying to hold the brains into his head. The police had shot him, just tore his head open, and the brains were laying out, and she was trying to keep him in to keep him alive.
Yeah.
And he was cussing and running. And so she said, "Sir, if you don't keep still, you're going to die. We're trying to hold..." "What? Somebody get this bee away from me. Ain't nobody going to die, bee. You talking about somebody going to die." I shook my head. I said,
he ain't ready to go.
Right. And I come back 2 days later, he was sitting up in the bed reading the newspaper with his head wrapped up.
Yeah. You think he had that kind of vision.
Right.
But you're basically saying that the power of life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Right.
You can speak life to yourself, or you can speak death to yourself.
Yeah,
yes,
absolutely.
Sir.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yeah, something.
And if you don't know, period, you just go when
they tell you.
Rich get ready for you.
Yeah. Yeah. You ready to go? Yeah. I ain't doing nothing. Yeah, I'm about tired now.
Yeah, we speak a lot of things that bring our own harm to us.
Yeah.
I'm sick of living, or I ain't gonna say that because I would be I just want to just die, and there ain't nothing to die over. Something.
You was in the moment.
You're in the moment.
Yeah.
We got to watch the power of the tongue.
I got a question for you, though. And WL, why is it such a hard thing for us as a community of people to support each other, to love each other, and to wish each other well? Why is that an issue?
It's not really an issue. What it is stupidity. It's the fact that we try to ingratiate ourselves to others instead of each other. We want Hitler to love us, not Martin Luther King. We want Hitler. Hitler is more important than Martin Luther King. You see,
Can you explain that a little bit
I
more?
see that. I see that in us. We don't trust one another. We don't like one another.
Okay.
Why? Because I look in the mirror. I don't like what I see in the mirror. So you look like that person I see in the mirror.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You see
Self-hate.
Right.
Well, you know, I've always thought about that question, and I'm not going to go with this long version because the long version is something. Just to try to say it in a minute. I've always believed that from the time we were brought into the Western Hemisphere, our adaptation to this hemisphere could never be fully recognized or realized because we are Eastern people. And our thought is, though we are born here, we adopted the language, we work with the culture, don't fit into the culture, but we work with it. And whatever we try to take and create out of our own selves and our own culture, the Western come and take it from us.
Right.
Be it our music, be our style of clothing, be it a style of talk, whatever it is, you know. I mean, you see, and it ain't white or black, I'm not being racial, but you see a lot of white kids catching up with the dance 10 years after we done it, you know, catching up with the rap 10 years after
they learn how to show their booty.
Yeah. Now they're wearing the pants down, you know. But
why we don't like each other?
Us, I don't think it's about us not loving. I think that we're living under a Western doctrine that isn't good enough for us to get into love for one another. If I was able to talk only, let me put it like this in it. Before segregation, before inclusion, we had our own businesses, our own neighborhood, we knew each other, we respected each other, we had our own mix of things. But when we went into integration, we went into a Western doctrine that kept us from developing our own. And we tried to mash in. Now you got all kind of blacks thinking all kind of ways, trying to live Western.
But you see, when folks don't know from whence they come, they don't know where they're going.
Well, that's
and
part
now,
of
if folks knew their history,
yeah.
If you know your history, then you'll know your greatness. But if you don't know your history, then you absent of your greatness.
You don't know.
So then you're trying to assimilate and be something that you're not. So Western society is doing what they do.
Right.
To deceive you. But if you was really conscious of who you were, then you couldn't be deceived by some who don't even know you.
Right.
Preach on, brother.
I do. You're
Preach
right,
on.
100%. Right, 100%.
Yeah, preach on. That's it. Because if we just separate ourselves, I think that we need to really pull out of a lot of stuff. The day is coming. My grandmother used to tell me in the last day, the black man is going to be, he's now the last, as she will put it, the last rung on the pole. He's going to be on top.
And I believe that.
And
I believe it.
The reason why...
You said it earlier about the 7.
Oh, yeah.
You remember?
Yeah. We was talking about something off camera.
Yes, yeah.
But I really feel that we need a bit more separation from our girls, our daughters, our women are emanating what they see on TV. That's for Western folks. We have very few programs that could be on time after time after time about blacks, and when they put us on, they want to make us buffoons and jokers and living in a way where they can speak
like
language that is not so. The soap operas.
Yeah, that stuff they be watching, the Atlanta stuff. All of these different shows where all the sisters fighting all the time.
What's that? Live.
Love and hip hop and all that kind of foolishness.
Yeah. So we're emanating what they make for us.
You haven't watched lately, have you?
Huh?
You watched Young and the Restless lately?
No.
Watch that. Young and the Restless.
Yeah, well, I stay away honestly from all that.
11:30 in the morning on Channel 2.
But that's what I see. We're still getting the image wrong. We're getting the image wrong.
Yeah, but
we need something solid to give us an image, and I think if we show love.
Right now,
I agree.
Who are the image makers?
Like you was referencing.
Who's the what?
Who are the image makers?
The media.
The media.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What part have you noticed where the images were projected that this is a colorblind society?
In the news.
Not just news.
News programming?
No, what sells? Commercials.
Oh yeah, commercials.
Oh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's inundated with
commercials.
Integration.
Yes. Sir.
Interracial marriages. Half and half children. You know, that kind of stuff. It's permeated throughout the country now.
Yes. Yes. All over.
Keep this in mind.
All over this nation. It is a Western philosophy.
When we get out there, remember to say it when we get out there. I don't want to say it on the air because I don't want to.
Okay. Well, I agree with you.
I don't want to ruin the spirit of it.
Okay. Well, but I think you're right, and I think you're absolutely right, WL. So that's what I was saying about. Now I do TV shows weekly too, on CAN TV. But I let these young folks manage these shows. I empower these young folks to produce these shows. But I also educate these young folks to know that their power is in their hands.
Right.
So they engage each other on some things that they're dealing with, and they understanding their history, they line and their lineage. So it's my job to let them stand on my shoulder as I stand on the shoulders of you, and I stand on the shoulders of Danny, and I stand on the shoulders of others. It's my job to give it back to them so that they don't go down the street not knowing the truth.
Yes.
Now what you do with it is on you, but at least you know.
That's right.
You know.
There it is.
Okay, we're out of time, so what would you like to leave the audience with? Brief.
Just briefly, I like if we have my website, I did leave it, if they could put that up. I like people to visit the website of Media Editing Group. It is www.mediaeditinggroup.com. We every Wednesday update reports about what television news stations, local, we only deal with local TV news stations, channels 2, 5, 7, 9, and 32, and we critique them on the kind of news they're bringing
26 out?
Huh?
That was my first station, 26. You leaving that out?
Well, we do the majors because that's where the population of viewers are.
But 26 are major.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the numbers we're shooting for.
Okay.
They don't have the viewership we're shooting for. These 5
That's right,
are
I'm
regular.
not there anymore, so.
Yeah. But I would like to see the website up if you can. And we will be having a report come out on that website after we meet with the TV news executives the month of November. And we'll let you know. Because we're going to empower you with that report in ways you can't even imagine.
Okay.
Yeah, and so thank you, WL, and thank your daughter for reaching out and being persistent, and thank all of you too, Pastor Redmond.
All right,
but
thank you, Pastor Jones.
I'm representing Fathers Who Care. You can log into us at www.fatherswhocare.org, Twitter us, Instagram us, Tumblr us, Facebook us. All that, young folks teach me all that stuff. You know, I don't know none of it. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of that stuff, they got me involved in that, so they manage that. But we encourage those of you who are interested in learning more about who we are to get in touch with us. Also tune in to us every Thursday at 7 o'clock on Channel 21 on CAN TV. We would love to stay involved with you, stay actively involved with your WL. Thank you for always having an open heart and an open door for us to come and talk.
It's my
and
pleasure.
I definitely look forward to coming back and sitting down with you.
My pleasure.
And I thank you too, sir. We have to take our time.
Can you reach that button?
It's always a pleasure, WL. Always a pleasure.
Well, we've heard today from 2 pastors of churches in the city of Chicago who have their head screwed on properly. And don't forget, Avalon Park Community Church, 8100 South Dante, is where we're going to launch the change of America. Good night. We'll see you this time again tomorrow.